Clashes get out of hand in Ferguson, Missouri overnight, so much so that the governor has now decided to deploy the National Guard. Tension escalating after a private autopsy requested by Michael Brown's family revealed the unarmed teenager was shot 6 times, at least 6 times, we know.
Brown was hit twice in the head, 4 times in his right arm. No gunpowder was found, indicating that the shots were not fired from close range. This is one of 3 autopsies being performed on Brown. The U.S. Department of Justice now set to perform the 3rd. We're going to go down to CNN's Don Lemon, who has been in Ferguson and saw much of what transpired firsthand last night. He's been there from really the beginning. Don, tell us what you saw last night.
It was unbelievable, really. The clashes were fierce, Jim. Good morning to you and Kate, by the way. Police in riot gear taking on protesters with tear gas and rubber bullets. It all started hours before a curfew was to begin and lasted well after it was supposed to be in effect. Police say protesters threw Molotov cocktails at them and that some of them opened fire in their direction. Now, 2 civilians were shot in the chaos, and authorities say they were not the ones who fired those shots. President Barack Obama being briefed on all of this today at the White House. CNN's George Howell joins me now with more on the very latest. George, what do you have this morning?
Don, you know, you see what happened last night. I can't help but think back to the first day that this all went down. Myself, photojournalist Jordan Gazzardo, were in this situation where we hear shots fired. You hear it in front of you. You hear it behind you. Our colleague, Steve Kastenbaum, in the same situation again tonight. Several nights of unrest. You have 3 different groups, really. You have a group of protesters who come out to protest peacefully. That's what they want to do. Then you have another group who comes in to make trouble, and you have police criticized for being too heavy-handed, but in many ways they feel that they are damned if they do and damned if they don't. Peaceful protest turned into chaos overnight, leaving 2 people wounded by civilian gunfire, according to police. Officers in riot gear firing smoke and tear gas canisters into crowds ahead of the midnight curfew after police say some protesters turned violent. Children and families were seen among the crowd. At times, protesters returning tear gas canisters toward police, and others trying to recover from the gas fired into the crowds.
The situation first started to deteriorate with a shooting of a civilian on West Florissant and Ferguson Avenues at approximately 8:25 p.m. We quickly responded with additional officers to reach the victim and got them to a safe position. That was followed by shots being fired on officers, a number of Molotov cocktails being hurled, and then the looting. But protesters say otherwise.
We were peaceful. This is unacceptable, and this is not the law.
Violence erupting as a preliminary autopsy report done by the family's own private pathologist, Dr. Michael Baden, reveals Brown was shot at least 6 times, twice in the head and 4 times in the arm. Baden adding that all of the bullets entered from the front, contradicting some eyewitness accounts that Brown was shot in the back. Also in the report, no trace of gunpowder residue found on the 18-year-old's clothing, which suggests Brown was shot from a distance, not up close. But Dr. Baden says until he can examine the clothing himself, we won't know for sure.